me, that boy Wonder, yeah, that boy that's doing wonders. Yeah, I'm never gonna wander, yeah, my man, I'm never going under.
Hey guys, so before we begin squatting today, one of the things I want to go over is the type of shoes you have. You're going to want a flat pair of shoes because when you're squatting, you're driving your feet from the ground, and when you have a pair of something like a running pair of shoes on, you're going to start rolling in your squat. So you want to have a flat stability, driving force from the ground. Some people actually do squat barefoot as well. Sometimes I do it. But what I wanted to get started on today with you guys, key tip is when people begin squatting, they'll start rolling towards the front of their feet and start putting all the weight on their toes instead of their heels, and that's not what you want to do. Another type of situation that happens is when you eventually start using weight too much and using too much weight when you're squatting, and you start losing your form. And it's happened to me tons of times, and you actually have to go back, drop the weight, and learn how to re-squat again. So one thing I've learned, and I start explaining to people now, is to push your toes up in your shoes. Like you can see right there how my toes is going up in my shoes like that, and all what I'm standing on now is just the balls of my feet and my heels. That's good because it's almost, as I learned it, it's like a tripod. You know, you have the two balls here, and you have the heel there, and when you're squatting, that's what you want to push the weight off of. And a lot of times I'll do it sometimes when I'm squatting or walking, you know, just to practice it, so that way when I'm back in the gym I'll have that form down again. But that's definitely a great way to teach people how to squat, or who's someone who's lost their form. I use it all the time. I use it when I'm using light weights on squats, when I'm doing heavy weights on squats, and it keeps my body in proper trajectory, so I don't put too much roll towards the front, because when you're rolling towards the front, your knees are going to go over your toes too much, and then you can start having knee problems, and you want to push everything on your heels. So keynote, guys, is to make sure that you're rolling on the tripod of the balls and heels of your feet. All right, now let's get started.
Okay, so for my first set, I did one pre-warm-up set, because the way I break this down is I usually do 4 sets total. A pre-warm-up set, which requires or consists of no weight. My first set, which is I consider a warm-up set. And the difference between those is my pre-warm-up set, I should say, is usually done to more so loosen my joints rather than, you know, having weight on the bar to start pushing blood into the muscle and everything. And it's good to just make sure that you have usage of your joints. You know, you want to make sure that you're using them properly. They're warmed up, they're stretched out for the motion and the exercise that you're doing. Then I like to put on, you know, a little bit of weight. A lot of times I'll start my first squat set off with 135 pounds. And I warm up with that for X amount of reps until I start to feel a burn. Make sure I'm doing different stances as well. Like in my last video I was doing with front squats, I believe I was explaining on how I work with narrow stance, closed stance, and wide stance, just to stretch out you know, your gluteus maximus, your minimus, your hamstrings, your quadriceps, you know, that whole posterior chain, and making sure that, you know, you're warmed up, because you want to be warmed up throughout the whole exercise. I have 2 heavy sets I'm going next, and then you also want to make sure that you are training the muscle groups differently. So that's what I did for my first set. So here's my first working set, guys. I started at 245 pounds on this, usually playing around that 225 to 245 pounds in my first working set. When I do unrack the bar, you'll notice that I shuffle the weight around a bit between my hands, my traps, and my legs. And that's just to make sure the weight's properly aligned and adjusted to my body before I start my motion. That's something that you want to take a keynote in and make sure of, that the bar is properly balanced across your traps and not too far on one side. You don't want it to rest on your spinal bone either. And making sure that your knees and your feet are turned out the proper way you want, so that when you are squatting, you don't have any pain or any injuries coming to you during your workout. So here's my final working set, guys, 335 pounds. This isn't very heavy for me, but currently it is due to the fact that I found different ways for my legs to grow. So I'm not pushing that, you know, mid 300s every squat day to grow my legs. Keynotes, just make sure you always have a spotter, proper stance, make sure the weight's balanced, make sure you always have a good explosion while you're training when your weights are very, very heavy as well.
Hey guys, just got done my squat video. I had gotten, what is that, 335 for 6, but the camera shut off. My camera's just a mess. Oh man, I'm beat. Just make sure you guys stretch out. I like doing a lot of plows, a lot of plyometric exercises, and a lot of yoga stretches when I'm done, just to get my back all loosened up, all that scar tissue loosened up. Foam rolling. And now I got my next workout, which is going to be my leg press, leg extensions, leg curls, calves, and then abs. So I got a long day, guys, but glad I could help you out with these squats. Check out Gare Bear Fitness on YouTube, Watson Alexander's Instagram. Stay shredded, guys.